You can push play on your playlist. Please make sure that it is on shuffle, so you have different music. It's a very long list. It's actually 36 hours long. So that meditation list that you have is 36 hours long. We won't be doing yin for 36 hours, just an hour. But it is nice that every week you get a little bit of a different selection. All right, let's first come into a seated position. You can cross your legs, you can sit on something. So the reason why it is quite nice to sit on something is because it lifts your hips. Depending on how flexible you are, some people when they sit, they really don't feel comfortable. They feel stiff and tight, and it is nice when the knees are a little bit lower than the hips. Then these muscles that are called the hip flexors, they can also relax. But that's just an option. It is for most people also easier to find a straight spine when they sit on something. Let's take a deep breath in. Interlace our hands and then point your index fingers up towards the sky. Relax your shoulders away. Take another breath in and then slowly release your hands and bring them to your thighs. The palms can be facing down or up. That is totally up to you. And then close your eyes. And this is the first moment of stillness, of committing to being still in the seat and giving yourself an opportunity to just check in. Checking in is also translated as simply asking yourself, or the different layers of your being, the question, how am I doing? How is my body doing? Have I been taking good care of my physical body? Have I slept well? Have I had a busy or quiet day? And can I feel that? How are the levels of energy? Maybe there's even parts of your physical body that feel a little sensitive. And it is so beautiful to learn, to practice, to listen to these subtle messages. Our bodies know often before we know. Our bodies give us signals. Even when we are maybe about to catch a flu, or when we're about to, when our immune system is a little down, our body tries to almost go like, hello, I need some attention, you need to sleep longer or go to bed early. And it is a beautiful practice to learn to listen to that. And then we can also observe our minds, notice the thoughts that come up, and we'll do this for the whole practice. And what are you feeling in your heart space? How are you feeling? I assume that, for example, Angelica is quite in a happy space, having her daughter back at home. There's also the environment and the people that you share your life with, and the things that have happened, the conversations that you've had today, that can also influence your mood or your emotions. And we can't always be super, super happy, but we can notice, like, oh, maybe I'm a bit sensitive today. And just be with what is. And now an important element is our breath. Can you also notice your breath? Notice when you inhale. And notice when you exhale. And in yin, we try to deepen and lengthen the breath. You can breathe in through the nose. And if it feels nice, just sigh or kind of softly breathe out of the mouth. Around 4 to 6 counts to breathe in. 4 to 6 or even 8 counts to breathe out. Couple of rounds of breath in your own time. Yin Yoga is also a reminder of the nurturing element of life, taking care of yourself with compassion, with kindness. You can open your eyes and softly place the palms together in front of the heart as a greeting. Nothing spiritual, just a greeting to say hello other yogis that are practicing with you. Emma, Paul, and Karina, and Angelica, and myself. Thank you for joining. You can set an intention or also energetically dedicate your class to someone in need. And then we, just as a gesture, bow our very thinking, busy minds to our humble, soft, beautiful hearts, our grateful hearts. And then come to a Baddha Konasana legs. So the soles of the feet touch. You create a diamond shape. Feel free here as well to sit on something. You can use blocks, bolsters, pillows, and I would suggest in this shape, I'm going to go sideways, it's a little less cold for my feet, to have something support your head. Because if the head hangs, it's fine, but there's kind of pull on the muscles. So if you can have your head on something, and then the muscles can also just relax here, the muscles here in the back of the skull, the neck. Just see how high your props need to be. And then we'll stay here for 4 minutes. These wooden blocks, to be honest, are quite rough. Maybe it would have been nice to have a little pillow. Let me see, maybe this is actually also going to work. Yeah, this works nicely. Alright, so just like you, I do the same. Every time I go into the shape, I kind of feel myself into it. And once you're in it, we commit to stillness. We commit to not moving. We commit to breathing, to bringing our attention to our breath. And it's also very beautiful to notice sensations in the body. Can you maybe for yourself identify where you feel this most? Is there any resistance somewhere in the body? Maybe around your hips, around the knees, around the lower back. And with every exhale, just soften and surrender. Stay with the breath in through the nose. And even a sigh can be quite nice. And soften and surrender on the side. Yeah, that looks delicious. Alright, just stay for another 2.5 minutes, just in stillness. Focusing on the sensations in the body, your breath, the beautiful music if you're playing music. Just be. Bring a little bit of space between the top row of teeth and the bottom row of teeth. Pay attention to the breath. Notice when the mind wanders. That is totally normal. And just catch yourself and go, oh yes, let's bring our attention back to our breath. You've got 1 more minute. Maybe you are starting to notice some more intense sensations. That's okay. Just focus on the breath. We're almost there. It just takes a little bit of time for the body to let go. 3 more rounds of breath here. And then we move super slow. It's often also when we move out that we go like, ooh, la la la. So lift your chest. And then bring the soles of the feet flat to the floor. And just windshield your knees a little from right to left. Nice and gentle. Alright, stay upright into your seated position and flex your left foot, bring it across the right side. So for people that feel that this is too close, you can slide the right foot further forward. If you want a little bit more, you can slide the right foot closer to your buttocks. You'll feel very quickly like, oh yeah, that's where I am. And then this left foot is flexed. Not super, super, super flexed, but it is quite active. So it's not hanging here. It is kind of drawn in, as if you're pressing against a wall. Then turn the thumbs to the front and the fingers to the back. And we create, let me just put the timer there. We create a little back bend here. So you can start lifting your chest, even look up a little bit. So pretend there's a little rope attached to the heart, and it's like somebody is pulling yourself up from the heart space. Close your eyes. Once you're settled in, we will stay here for just a minute, because our fingers might get tired, our hands might get tired there. You can put the hands flat or come into fingertips, and then really broaden the chest. Broaden the chest, feel free to close your eyes. It's almost like you want to have a straight spine, which creates a lift in your chest. Come back to your breath. Slow breaths into the nose. Let go of your day. Exhale. Keep your figure 4. Slide your right foot all the way to the back or to the top of your mat. Then you can roll down and then let your legs fall over to the left side. Now, if this feels a bit strong, you might want to put a little support on the side so your knee falls onto that. Another option is to just release your figure 4. If for some reason this is a little bit too much, just release your figure 4 and let your left foot come down towards the floor. We'll stay here for 3 minutes. If you can, have your shoulder blades equally onto the floor. So take a moment to kind of shimmy your shoulders, and your arms can be overhead if that feels alright. So the armpits are open. No need to really put any pressure with the outside of the left foot. It's just kind of hanging there. Where do you feel what? If I would give you a marker or something, where would you put a little cross or a little dot saying, yeah, I feel it here around my right hip flexor and it pulls towards the lower back, but in a nice way. Maybe you feel it elsewhere because we hold on to tension, physical, mental and emotional tension in our body in different places, depending on our posture, depending on our jobs, depending how much we've moved or how much we sat today. Also, obviously, depending on your skeleton structure. The type of exercise you do, it all forms your physical body, even your mental body. Closing the eyes is lovely, or just staring at one point. And we can breathe into the belly. So diaphragmatic, how do you say that? Breathing, so your diaphragm expands, actually increases stress levels. It improves your blood flow. So many benefits to breathing consciously, to expanding the diaphragm. So let the belly pop up and fall. We've got a little more than a minute to go. Three more rounds of breath. Slowly release the left foot so it falls to the floor, and then bring the knees up so they're pointing up towards the sky. Readjust your hips and just lie still here. You can place one hand on your tummy and one hand on the heart. Again, just noticing your breath. So notice when you breathe in that your chest rises, that your belly rises. Space between the ribs of your rib cage. 5 more rounds of breath here. If you have a strap, you can grab your strap. If you don't have a strap, you can also use a belt. A leather belt is maybe not the most comfortable, or like when you have your wardrobe to go to the bathroom. That rope, mine is like a very nice material. This is a yoga strap, but you bring a strap around the right foot. Around the right foot. Yeah. And then you glue your shoulder blades to the floor. Where is my timer? There is my timer. Glue your shoulder blades to the floor. So notice if your shoulders are lifting up and away from the floor. And we'll stay here for 3 minutes as well. You can bring the leg a little closer if that feels alright. The left foot can be on the floor with the left knee bent, or you can extend the leg along the floor. It's both okay. One just feels a little bit more comfortable than the other, and that's the one that you pick. Bring your chin a little in, so you're lengthening the back of your neck. Almost like you want to look at your belly button. Take deep, slow breaths in and out. Where do you feel what? Which muscles do you feel are resisting or are maybe almost, again, giving you a sign or a message of like, whoa, this is challenging for me, which means those muscles are maybe a little tight or they're holding on to something. And that's all right. The leg, the right leg might even start to shake. I used to exercise like weights a lot, and then when I started with yoga, all that shaking, it was like tension in the, it almost feels like electricity shooting, like, and that's all right. I don't have that anymore. That's changed. So if you feel shaking, that's all right. You can always back off a little bit. We're not here to force anything. But it is interesting and fascinating to notice. We have 1 more minute. If you feel you want to bring the leg a little closer, you may. Nice drainage of the legs. Around 5 more rounds of breath. If the left leg is along the floor, bend it so the left knee is pointing up. You can give yourself a little slack. Keep your belt on the right foot and hook your left foot into it as well. So both legs are up towards the sky. Yeah, that's it. We'll stay here for just 2 minutes. So leg up the wall pose. We've spoken about it already a lot. So if you fly, like Karina does when she travels or travels for work, you can imagine that gravity is kind of pulling on your body always in the same direction. So leg up the wall like this after running, after flying, after sitting behind a desk for a long time, it's very beneficial because it's like an upside down. It's an inversion as we call it, but it's a very gentle inversion. A more YIN, a vinyasa kind of inversion would be a handstands or a headstands. We do those in the other vinyasa classes, but energetically it does the same to your body. Breathe, let the ribs of your rib cage expand on the inhale. Maybe even feel how they softly press into the mat, into the floor. And soften on the exhale. Is the neck still long, or have you maybe tilted the head? So sometimes the head tilts backwards. Just make your neck nice and long and in line with the rest of the spine. Around 10 more rounds of breath here. Soften the skin on your face. Be kind. Notice your thoughts. We can train our minds to just notice like, that's an interesting excuse that I come up with myself. We do that to ourselves. We have a thought which is sometimes based on fear for the future, and then a whole story can get created around it in your head. And if you can teach or practice yourself to catch yourself and almost go, well, funny you, creating a whole drama or a whole story around something, that is also spending energy on something. We can spend so much mental energy on situations or conflict, and you afterwards sometimes you go like, really? Really, was that worth it? Anyway, let's have your knees in towards your chest for just a moment, and then you can rock and roll a little from right to left, massaging the lower back. And then when you're ready, roll to a side, and from the side you can come back up into a seated position. I changed around, but you can just keep looking to the front. We'll do one reverse tabletop, which is kind of YIN because you activate the muscles, but let's do it softly. So you bring the feet hip width apart and you lift up. You can walk your feet on the spot, you can walk your hands on the spot. And open the front line of the body. Lift your hips. Yeah, nice. Is your mom okay there? can't really see. Looks okay from here. All right. Take 3 more rounds of breath. You can even rock and roll, or not rock and roll, sorry, rock forward and back a little bit. Notice how that changes the tension around your shoulders. Ooh, lovely. All right, 1 more breath in, and then the hips back down towards the floor. This time we bring our right foot on top of our left thigh. Remember that you can bring that left foot a little closer or a little further. So that is just the finding of the shape. And one of the biggest indicators, so let your fingers point to the back, one of the biggest indicators here is your breath. If you come really close and you can't lengthen the spine, it becomes a little bit harder to breathe. So just go to a place where you are like, yes, I feel something in a part of my body, probably somewhere around the right hip, because it is a right hip opener, but I can still feel quite free. I can still feel quite open. All right, let's go. We've got 2 more minutes because I've been chatting along. We'll stay in stillness. Feel free to close your eyes. Hands can be flat or hands can be on fingertips. And then can you open and lift your heart? Sometimes it helps to walk your hands a little wider, just giving your chest that space. And because I practice, and it's just a sharing, because I practice so much vinyasa, I catch myself breathing in Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is our breath in and out of the nose. And that's not very yin. It actually is quite stimulating. So I catch myself and go like, Joëlle, you are breathing Ujjayi. Let's go back to yin breath. So slowly in through the nose. And even slower out the mouth. That on its own, that kind of pranayama as we call it, breathing, prana means life force, brings a sense of calmness already to your central nervous system. I think I've mentioned this before, you know how we say like, let's shake it off. Like, of course, if you've had a challenging day, dancing, it could be very, very relieving of energy. But stillness can also bring a lot of clarity, can bring a lot of serenity. So yes, shaking off can be an option, but also finding stillness can be very healing. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then you can come to your elbows and just come to your back and let your legs fall over to the right side. Oh, I don't want to set myself on fire here. Remember, you can put something under this right leg here. A block, a bolster. If it feels nicer, we'll stay here for 3 minutes. So settle into the shape. Take a moment here. Readjust your shoulders. And then I always, very often when I practice spinal twist, your hands can be overhead. Especially with clients that are doing this for the first time, or yogis that are doing this for the first time, they're like, hey, wait a second. It feels like I've got more or less space. It's almost like a recognition of like, I think it feels kind of the same, but also very not the same. One side often feels a little tighter than the other. And through yoga, you can observe and start to notice and get to know your body. Again, just listen to those subtle messages. Depending on your job, depending on if you're right-handed, left-handed, how your habits are and how you sit, you create unevenness in the body. And it's not a problem, but it is interesting to be aware of. And through holding these shapes, we can bring the right side and the left side a little closer. More equal, more symmetrical. Focus back on your breath. Really let your, ooh, excuse me, it was a nice kind of mini yawn. Let your belly rise and fall. Looking good, yogis. Soften. Do you remember where you felt it? I felt this on the other side. I mentioned that I could give you a marker, and where would you put the little dot or the little cross of where it is most intense? Does it feel quite similar or different? The same intensity or less intense? No judgment, no attachment, just an observation. Come back to your breath. Your breath is always there for you. Even during the day, even during a busy office day or anything that you're dealing with, if you can realize like, ooh, I'm being triggered now, I'm being, maybe a little bit of anxiety comes up, or I feel that I'm like suffocating in a way that's like, ooh, this is challenging. It's funny, but I then sometimes just go to the toilet. I just sit on the toilet and breathe and go, okay, my breath is there for me. My breath can help me calm down and find a sense of centeredness. Find a sense of calmness. No need to freak out. Even in traffic, no need to have road rage. Just breathe. Just breathe. Take 5 more rounds of breath. And then slowly bring your figure 4. You can drop that right foot off your left. Just lie in the center here. Rearrange your clothes. One hand can be on the tummy again, and just take 5 breaths here. Notice the post effect of your shape. And then it's the left leg that goes up to the sky. Bring your belt in, or whatever prop you are using. Set yourself up. So the first couple of moments is just a matter of, okay, where do I want to place my belt? I like to place it on the ball of the foot rather than the arch. Just see how that feels to you. Where are you? Are you conscious and mindful about where you place your belt? And then where are you holding onto it? Soften the shoulders. And there we go. Notice the lengthening in the back of the left leg. Do you feel it most around the hamstring, more around the calf? The right knee can be bent and pointing up to the sky with the right sole of the foot flat, or you can extend that leg along the floor. Come back to the breath now. Commit to your stillness and let the time create space. A bit of space, let your tongue and your mouth relax. Let your lips relax of your mouth. And that all translates into relaxed cheeks, relaxed muscles of the face, heavy eyeballs. You can go a little bit deeper if you want to for the last minutes. There's no need. These are all options. If you're in a happy place and you have sensations, we're going for sensations. We're going for, yes, I feel it is something happening. Yes, I feel a stretch. And your body is not going to break because of stretching. You're just creating space. It's like an elastic band. You're just bringing some tension onto the elastic band. It's actually a very good thing to do. Remember to keep the neck in line with the rest of the spine. So if you notice, I even noticed that in myself, that my chin starts to lift. So I bring the chin a little bit closer to my throat, which brings some length in the back of the neck and some softness into the back of the neck. Last couple of rounds of breath here. Slowly release the leg and just lie in a mini Shavasana. So the legs, the feet fall out to the side, the palms face up, and just lie still here. Oh, actually, let's do a pranayama breathing. You can use a block. Place a block on your belly. Mine is not so heavy. So if your block is heavier, a weight could also work. Otherwise, you can imagine that there is a weight on your tummy. And then you breathe the block up and down. So you breathe in. You let the block come closer to the sky, closer to the ceiling. At its highest point, you slowly breathe out of the mouth and you just notice how the weight of the block kind of sinks into your tummy. Let's do 5 more like that. Nice and slow. Inhale, fill up. Out of the mouth, exhale, nice and slow. Let the block rise and fall, which also expands your diaphragm. It's diaphragmatic breathing, the word I didn't get before. Diaphragmatic breathing. It sounds very scary. Very healthy though. Last round. Remove the block. Hug your knees back in towards your chest. I always feel I make a big mess of my playground. All my props everywhere. And then roll to the side. And we're going to come onto our tummy. Do we need any props? Probably not. No, we'll be fine without. Or actually, maybe a bolster. Let's just bring our bolster here at the top, so it's ready. I'll bring it to the side here. Don't need you. All right, a little bit of reorganization. We start with so I'll actually show you standing. So you're on your belly, and you slide your right knee up towards next to you. It's a little hard to demonstrate here. So you're on your tummy and you slide that right knee up. It actually, feels quite nice. And then you can come onto your left elbow. This is optional. Okay, I'm going to give you the 2 options. The one option is to bring your hands on top of each other and let your head rest on your hands. And then we come into that belly breathing again. Or you can thread the needle with your right arm underneath your left arm, which is quite strong. So just see if that's all right for you. We'll stay here for 2 minutes. What you can also do, I'll let you know when we're halfway. So after 1 minute, if you are curious but you find the needle a little bit strong, You can just do it for 1 minute. So you're also looking to the left side. You are lying on your arm. So the fact that there might be pins and needles, so a little bit of like numbness in your right fingertips, is quite normal because of the blood restriction. If it's uncomfortable, just come out, place your hands on top of each other, and just be happy there. If you feel like you've got space, you can bring your left hand around your lower back and hook your left fingers to the inside of the right thigh. That might not be for everyone, but I do want to give you that option. We are now halfway. So pick, stay, or add something on, or remove something. You can, I definitely have little pins and needles there in my right hand. That's alright. Slight blood restriction. Once we release it, it's going to be a nice flush of blood. Come back to the breath. Let the belly button softly press into the floor. Soften your jaw. Relax your toes. Stay with the breath. Around 3 more rounds of breath here. If you have the bind, release the bind. Let's all bring our left hand in front of the nose and gently unhook your arm. And then you can have both legs behind you into Sphinx pose. So your toes are pointing backwards, and then you can shake your bum a little bit from right to left. Your elbows can be under your shoulders. Now this is up to you. Option 1, Sphinx pose, elbows on the floor. Option 2, elbows onto something. Just makes it a little bit higher, more intense. Doesn't mean intense is better, but we're all different. Some people find this very easy. I don't find this very easy. Back bends don't come very natural to me. Another option, number 3, if you don't have a prop and you do want more intensity, you can come into seal. We call this seal pose. The hands at the top of the mat. Just notice that the shoulders don't creep up towards your shoulders. So there's a length. Yeah, nice. Then close your eyes and we'll stay here for 3 rounds, not 3 rounds of breath, 3 minutes of breathing. Feel free to close your eyes. And I actually didn't even mention the collective theme of this week. You know how we kind of take a theme, which could be a mindfulness theme. So the theme of this week's classes is all about we are energy. We are all energy. We are like a little battery, and sometimes we feel our battery is on red, and sometimes we feel our battery is on green. We are also responsible for the energy that we bring into this world. You know, when someone walks into the room and they immediately start moaning and complaining, it changes the air, it changes the energy in the room. What we say, what we think is very linked to what we bring out into this world, and also even our body language, you know, it's very important. It has an influence on the people around you. We often speak about our animals, you know, how our animals, our cats and stuff, they pick up on that energy. They'll run away when you're like tense, and they'll come and sit you when you're calm and kind. And also this can be translated in a different way, where you say, okay, if we are all energy, then where do I spend my energy? And do certain people deserve my energy? Do certain activities deserve your energy? You become mindful and conscious about it. So we've been kind of meditating on that. So for the last bit of class, if you feel like, oh, that's an interesting topic, I often Google it and I just kind of see what kind of quotes come up and how that inspires me and how that changes my behavior on my mat and also off my mat. You are energy, and your energy is limited. The same as your time is limited. So it's precious. You've got 1 more minute here. Soften your buttocks. Your kidney belt is also being stimulated here, which is right in the lower back. So I feel a little bit of sensitivity there. And sometimes I find it difficult to discover if it's muscular or if it's my organs, if it's my kidneys that are a bit overworked maybe. It's not always easy to find out like what is happening exactly, but to know that there is a sensitivity there, whether it's the vertebra, the muscles or the organs. It's just like, okay, let's be gentle and let's breathe into the spaces. No need to force. Take 4 more rounds of breath here. One deep breath in. Slowly, slowly, slowly come down and just lie with your hands. Just keep your legs exactly where they are and totally be soft. Now notice what you feel again. Ooh. For me, that's a biggie. Doesn't have to be a big for you, but for me, that's a biggie. Means I need it, means I need it, means I need it. Be gentle in your release, and we'll just stretch so the lower back has been a little bit in a back bend now for quite a long time. So we move into child's pose, press yourself up, and then we round the spine. Nice and slow. We won't be in child pose for too long, just for a moment to find length again in that lower back. You can reach, or your full back actually, just moving that spine in the other direction. Ah, nice. Slowly come back to the top of your mat, onto the belly, and you'll do your other leg, which is your left leg. If you feel that you don't have a lot of space, it might be nice to move your whole body a little bit here onto the right side. I'm moving my body a little bit to the right side, so I've got space for my left knee to slide up. So I'm searching for that shape. You can be on your elbows. And then the 2 options were, well, there's several options and we can add on. Hello, Yuna. You can come into the thread the needle, or I'll let you know when we're halfway. Now say hi. Say hi. Yeah, come. All right, the timer starts now. Settle in. Look to the left, left ear to the floor. And then soften. Soften, 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 soften. Soften your toes. And of course you can still do little adjustments of the body. We aim and we commit to stillness in yin. But if something feels like, oh, I think if I would move my head slightly, I would be more comfortable, then that's what you do. If you wanted to take that bind, interesting, now you can also feel, because binding here involves a twist. I remember then on the other hand, on the other side, I could very easily, my left fingers were very easily around my right side. On this side, it's a lot more tight. Just interesting. We are halfway, so if you just want to do the thread the needle for 1 minute, you can do that now. Maybe start to notice the tinkling in the left fingers. Breathe, breathe the belly into the floor. Two more rounds of breath here. Let's all bring our elbows back under our shoulders. Softly press yourself up and away from the floor. Slide your left leg behind you. So you're again on your tummy. And then let's move one more time to a child's pose. That's where we'll rest for a little bit. Before we go, actually I want to do one more shape. We start a little later, so we'll also finish a little later. If you have to go for some reason, don't worry about it. Oh, I actually have an idea. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we will come into our heart opener. I wanted to do just one more back bend, or a soft back bend. I first thought, my go-to pose is always supported bridge pose because I love it so much. But today, let's move into that heart shape. So, your bolster or a block. This can also be a block. If you don't have one of these things, you can also use beach towels. So next week, if you're like, oh, I don't have one of those, you can always use a beach towel. But you can also use a block, either in this direction or that direction. Just make sure it's not in the lower back. So rather too high, or obviously also not in your neck, but under your shoulder blade area. I'm going to use my bolster and place it right here under my chest. You can choose to have the feet again in a Baddha Konasana like we started, or if it feels nicer for you to either already come into Shavasana legs or even knees in towards each other. Little warning is the wrong word, little extra instruction is that the head is not hanging. So this thing is quite big, so my head like this is hanging. So I'm going to place something behind my head to just let it support. And then I'm going to just let you be here, whoopsie, for another 3 minutes. And then we'll move to Shavasana. Breathe space into your heart. Soften with the exhale into the belly. Notice the stretch maybe around the armpits, the lifting of your chest, stretching into the deeper tissues of your physical being, your fascia as we call it. Letting the mind calm with every breath, with every in and exhale. Letting your central nervous system calm down. Feeling and thinking whatever you feel, and always paying attention to your breath. And then in the next couple of breaths, you can stay here. If you're in a really nice place, stay. This is also quite relaxing. Or you can just remove the props and come either, two options, into Shavasana. I like to place the bolster under my knees. You can also lie flat on the floor, or if you prefer to come into a meditative seat, that's also fine. I know some of you really enjoy this last bit of class, so you can already even leave the meeting, leave the Zoom meeting and go like, okay, bye-bye, I'm gonna rest and recover here. I know sometimes Emma really likes to do that. Yeah, I thought so. Thank you, Emma. And otherwise, just either come into a seat for meditation or lie back onto the floor, the blankets. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Just relax for a couple of more minutes, doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nice, Angelica, beautiful. We'll be together for another 2 minutes here. Feel free to stay longer, hey? There's no need to say goodbye whatsoever, because it's such a nice place to be in. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Just be. As I said before, if you are in a really peaceful place, just stay. Allow everything to just process and be. If you are ready to move, I would recommend to start with really small movements. Yeah, nice fingers and toes. Just notice the subtle movements, the muscles that are activated when you start moving your fingers and your toes. And then you can stretch your arms overhead. Stretch all the way, as if you're waking up. Yeah, lovely. Even making sounds. I can't hear you guys, but it's nice. And then you hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a lovely, lovely hug. Your beautiful body, your beautiful mind, your beautiful emotional world. That's life. Sometimes we wish we don't feel certain things, but then life would become quite boring as well. Quite the same every day. You can come to the side and then come up to a seated position. So grateful for these practices, for these moments for ourselves, to just feel, to just be, to be aware that yes, we have energy, we are energy, and sometimes we have a lot of energy, sometimes we have a little energy, but it's being aware of it, and then being able to take actions, or at least choose the activities that match that, to learn how to listen to yourself and to safeguard our precious energy. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste. Namaste means I see the light in you, the beautiful original light that makes you. I think it's a beautiful thing to say. It's a beautiful greeting. I will come and see how you are feeling.